Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live. Man, these shows come faster and faster and faster. And I enjoy doing them because I bring you people that are experts in their area to share with you what you can do to improve the customer experience and the employee experience at your stores, which makes everybody better and makes more customers want to come and do business with you. And tonight's show, we have Scott Trainor with USA Motor Jobs. So welcome, Scott.
Thank you for having me, Paul. It's always great to be here with you. I appreciate the invite. I know you and I had great conversations over at NADA just over a week ago. And I'm looking forward to this and to really being able to reach out to more people.
Yeah, it was a great time. Great educational sessions, great networking. Meeting some of the connections for the first time that I didn't have an opportunity to meet before, but you interact with their content online. And, you know, my thing is always try to help as many people as you can without any expectation of anything in return. And somehow, some way, good things happen. And I was able to meet a gentleman that at the time, I had shared his content. He was looking for work. And afterwards, he said people from all around the country were calling him. And I had no idea. So the power of networking is huge. Before we jump into the show, Scott, why don't you tell everybody about your background and how you got into what you do now?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've always been automotive. I was actually studying mechanics. Decided that's not the path I wanted to take. I wasn't the type to wake up early in the morning and work on cars with snow falling off of you back home in Montreal, Canada. But I always had a passion for cars. So I went into sales. I started my career, I was selling Toyotas. I was 19 years old. I actually wasn't sure I didn't know it was going to be the career and lead me to where I am today. I don't think most people who start in the car industry realize the career path is possible. From there, I moved on. I was lease renewal assistant manager. Then I was managing a couple other stores and finished my career managing a Mercedes store in Montreal, which is where I ended up through meeting and networking. Like I said, met my now business partners who owned Canada Motor Jobs, and we became good friends, spoke often. And then my wife was working for them. And then when they wanted to launch the USA project, well, then it was presented to me and my wife, would you guys like to go in with us and launch USA Motor Jobs down in the States? And we went all in, packed everything up, and moved to sunny Florida. So traded in the snow boots for flip-flops and started this new business down in the United States.
Wow, that's some story. Usually people go the other way. You actually came from Canada to the US and now enjoying Florida.
Listen, it was minus 36 degrees yesterday in Montreal with the wind chill. So I'm not regretting my move.
I don't blame you, man. I remember the first time I got off the plane in Chicago and it was negative 17. And I said to myself, what the hell am I doing here?
Exactly.
Natural. All right, let me get to a couple of comments here and then I'll kick us off. We have first on the scene, Larry Feldman. How are you, Larry? Good evening, Paul and Scott. He's another guy in your circles.
Yeah, Larry was another one I got to meet at NADA. It was great. This was the true first big conference we did down here. So I got to meet people such as yourself, such as Larry. It was a great time.
We got Mike Vogel showing up as Mike Vogel. Mike, whatever you did, teach it to Lamont because Lamont is still showing up as LinkedIn user. So you fixed whatever was wrong. So we got Wendy Reeves in the house. Good evening, beautiful people.
Hey.
Peter Smith, good evening all. Looking forward to hearing this call. And LinkedIn user, which I believe, yes, it says it's Lamont. It says, good evening, gentlemen. Jerry Davis is in the house. Good evening, everyone. And Russell B. Hill. Oh, man. What do we have in store tonight? Hello, Paul and Scott. Let's go and grow.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Sounds like a product. He says, Wendy Reeves, is there an audio issue? What do you mean, Wendy? What type of audio issue? Please elaborate. And then LinkedIn user said, Wendy, there doesn't seem to be. Wendy, try to reboot your computer. Perhaps that will solve the issue. And Peter Smith says, Wendy, small icon in the bottom left corner. Salvo Iacono with a clapping hands emoji. And Peter Smith says, right corner, sorry, dyslexia. He made the right move. Yes, apparently you made the right move for Salvo as well. Mike Fisher, great to meet you, Scott. And Peter Smith, question for Scott. What is the best way to get noticed in the USA for a Canadian?
It's all about networking. It was really a lot of time being involved and not looking for what you can gain. It was really becoming part of the industry down here, learning as much from others as you're trying to offer. And learning their needs is completely different down in the United States, but it was just listening to people and trying to help people in every aspect, not even just the services I offer, but whatever I could help with, I wanted to be involved with and growing with people.
Now, let me just give a couple numbers out there. Unemployment is at 3.7% as of November of 2022, which is a relatively low number, right? Yet so many companies, particularly in transportation and automotive, struggle to find talent, whether it's the technician, whether it's the sales staff. It's a tough gig out there. And what I have found is interesting is I have a lot of conversations with dealers, and I have a lot of conversations with vendors and just people in the automotive space. My wife says to me, you know, you're always on the phone talking to so many different people. But the reason I do that is to get information, all right? Because when you talk to a lot of people, you get a lot of information that's relevant to your industry. And the common thing when I walk into a dealership, it doesn't matter what kind, they're always looking for employees. Do you have text for me? No, I don't have text for you. Do you have salespeople for me? No, I don't have salespeople for you either. You know, the reality is that, particularly in the tech area, it's been bad. It's bad now, and it's going to continue to get bad because there's not a lot of people coming out of tech school. Mm-hmm. That's just the reality. And people are leaving our business. The average technician is over 40 years old. And it's not like a corporate job where you're going in and you're shuffling paper. And these guys and gals are working with their hands, with their backs, with their bodies, and they can't take long term. So you have to face the fact. The reality is if you can't get enough technicians, you need to become more efficient by leveraging the available technologies so that you don't need as many as you needed before. You know, that's just the reality. Or we could just sit and complain about it and not get any better.
This problem's been getting worse for years. It's been on a steady decline. Only now is the industry starting to react. The automotive industry, as I come from it, so I know it's a very reactive industry. Instead of proactive. No.
Whoa. Where is it very reactive?
Well, when it's a bit too late, it's not proactive. The technician needs actually doubled from 2020 to 2021. I still wait on the 2022 stats to be finalized, but in 2020 there was over 125,000 technicians needed in the United States. That doubled to over 250,000 technicians needed in 2021 in the United States.
$250,000.
$250,000. Between 2020 and 2026, there's going to be over 640,000 technicians needed that are leaving the workforce. So
now the flip side of the coin is that companies spend anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 a month on some of these large job sites. It seems it's like they're on retainer to get help. But here's the very interesting thing that I've heard from many people, and after hearing it enough times, I kind of jumped in and did a mystery shop of the employers. And here's what I found. There are qualified people out there, people with a pedigree that have lots of experience, that have sent out thousands, I repeat, thousands of applications through some of these larger job sites to get this many responses. Zero response. And at first I didn't believe it. I thought, no, that can't be. If a company's spending that much money to recruit talent, it can't be. So when I mystery shopped, what I found was that's true. The applications are not even being read. And of the ones that are being read, I don't know that there's necessarily a qualified person to evaluate the talent, because I remember one response came back on a management role. Thank you for your application, but we're really looking for technicians. So that tells me they have so many ads running, they don't even know what they have running, and they're not even responding to the correct ones because each one is specific to a particular role. So that's absolutely crazy. So I understand you guys, you handle things a little bit differently. You're not an employment agency per se, but you offer a way for people to connect with other people looking to hire. So tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
Yeah, so we launched an automotive dedicated portal. We truly wanted to build a community where both employers and candidates can connect in a way that wasn't done before. We're not a recruiter, we're not an agency. So we provided this tool for the dealers, for their hiring managers, their talent acquisition team, and their human resources to utilize to reach out to people that are dedicated to our industry. We've modernized in the sense where our site doesn't even use resumes, where both the candidates and the employers are building profiles. They're able to see where they match up, how they match up, what skills, assets, requirements both each and have, and then they'll see which fits them best. We're not creating technicians, obviously. We are an advocate for the industry. We're out there in high schools, we're out there in trade schools, we're out working with different veterans associations to try to bring returning men and women into our industry after the service. So we're doing a step above what you mentioned the large traditional job boards are doing, because we're really focused automotive. Automotive is our passion. We're all in on it, and we advocate and we want the best for the industry. And we made it simple because we truly feel that stores should always actively be interviewing. We know the candidate market nowadays, and we've made it simple and cost efficient so that the dealerships can always be in the face of top talent when top talent is ready to make the move.
So the dealers create a profile?
Yep, both the dealerships, the dealership is creating a profile. They're building, actually, it's been referred to almost like a dating site, some of the aspect of it, because they're building their ideal candidate. They're selecting from predefined criteria, qualifications, skill sets, education that they want the candidate to have, their ideal candidate. The candidates are choosing from the same list when building their profile, which allows the algorithm to show where they match up, how they match up, what they have more, what they might be missing, what they excel at, and so on. Also, being all built as such, the site works in 3 different languages: English, French, and Spanish. English and French was for our Canadian platform back home, and English and Spanish down here, meaning even if a dealership's building their ideal candidate in English, if a candidate is more comfortable in their Spanish speaking, they can build their whole profile in Spanish, view what the dealership's done in Spanish, and apply. And the employer's getting it back in their language of choice. So we really tried to make it the best way for them to have a successful marriage together.
You know, it's funny. It sounds very much like this dealer vendor match platform, where you're connecting and offering them a way to connect on a way that is their preferred method.
Exactly. We're trying different things as well. We're bringing in technicians. We have partnerships with several large the tool companies. We're offering technicians rebates on their tools just for being members of USA Motor Jobs, which we've done in partnership. So they're passing on all of this to our users. So we really did want to build it as a community and not just a job platform. Obviously, the job platform is our business model, but we care about the industry and we want to try to find ways to give back to it as well.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Let me get to a couple of comments here. Peter, thanks you for your response. And Craig Tomasic, this is a challenging industry to be a part of. You have to challenge, you have to enjoy challenge, and that seems to not be for everyone. This is very true. Mike Vogel said, set expectations for technicians from the start and follow through on what has been promised. Now, speaking of following through, what I liked, what we were talking about earlier, is that you will actually nudge the employer when they have people that have been matched up to them. Hey, you need to reach out to these people, because if you don't, there's a good chance another dealer may scoop them up. That's a good piece that you add to it.
Yeah, because obviously we want the dealership success as well. So we don't get involved in the recruiting side. However, if we do see that candidates are unseen by the dealer, maybe it was a person's offer or somebody just missed it, our team that's dedicated to the accounts will reach out and say, you currently have this many candidates on this job post. You know as well as I do, as well as everybody does, if a technician applies, they've probably applied multiple places. If you're not calling them right away or within the first 24 hours, they've already got 2, 3, 4 competitive offers from the other ones that reached out first. It's gone are the days where you sit back and wait for 8 to 10 applications and then put them out on your desk and compare them. That doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Not in this day and age.
The technician's like a nurse, man. You can have a job this afternoon if you want it. Yeah. That's how in demand they are.
Yeah. We are coming out with even more great features. So I'm going to keep pointing out, once again, being automotive dedicated lets us really cater to this this industry. And we're going to be bringing out features to attract the technicians that you won't find on any other job boards. I was about to give it away. I don't want to. There's going to be key factors.
Don't do it.
Going to bring and how you could talk with the technicians on ways you can't do on any other platform.
Yeah, you have to.
I'm excited about it. As you see, I have a passion for this.
There's no business like the car business, man.
I always refer to the car business. You know, it's a big family. It's a business like no other. Once you're in it, for the most part, you stay in it. Things have changed recently, though, which is worrisome. We're seeing a shift of people exiting the industry, whether it be sales, of course, coming out of COVID, where you had a lot of new, fresh salesmen start and thought this was the normal car business and thought that they knew how to sell cars and thought that they were the champion of selling cars, are coming to a quick reality that was it was a glitch in the matrix that we experienced for the last year and a half, and it's back to the normal days. So the ones that can make it, and a lot of them need to refine their skills and adapt to the traditional way of selling cars. Technicians, we need to adapt to them. The dealerships need to understand and listen to them. I'm going to call it as it is. As I said, I've been in it long enough. I can say it. The technician side, they've been not neglected, but they haven't been listened to as much as they should have been. They've been overworked. They've been underappreciated and blatantly underpaid. For the way the economy's gone and the cost of living's gone up. 10 years ago, working as an automotive technician, that was a great career. You were making good to average to good money, able to just work your normal hours. The way the pay plans and everything have changed, the compensation alone has driven a lot of them to leave the industry. So I think the industry as a whole, now I mentioned the salespeople are getting a reset. I think the industry as a whole needs a reset to really retain what we have and restart the passion for automotive and attract the new generation into it, because it's completely changing. When people think automotive technician, the mindset is still back in the day of the grease monkey, covered in grease, just turning wrenches, fixing cars are computers now. Yeah. So we're out there, we're working, when I'm saying high schools, we're not just working with traditional schools as well. We're working with people interested in technology, kids that are like computers. And we're trying to let them know, hey, with the hybrids and electrification that's in the automotive now, it's not what you think it was 10, 15 years ago. Automotive has completely changed. It's full of technology and trying to bring them in.
It's a cool job now. They're electromechanical engineers.
It is. We just need the compensation to come with it on the dealership side. When you look statistically on I know I'm harping on the negatives because I'm hoping that your viewers can feel the passion. The dealerships get behind it as well. When we're looking, of course, it was a societal thing as well. Trades were not always for years, as you know, it was get a university. Now the mindset's starting to change. But now you have the youth that maybe is considering going into a trade school. He's going to look, do I want to be an electrician? Do I want to be a plumber? Do I want to be a welder or an automotive technician? Well, automotive technician, unless you have a passion for cars, it's not the easiest out of all of them. I'm not talking easy as in the skill set. I'm talking about how to work your way up. So I think we need to promote the career growth and change that concept and that ideology about the industry, that there is a career growth, but the dealerships need to back up that as well. But that's something we need to push. I think that we don't do as good enough job at that as we could be. So I'm trying my best. I know many of the great dealers are. We just need the whole industry together to push the idea that there is a career path to be found in the automotive industry. And you're not going to break your back and finish at 60 years old like you were before, with all your bones all done, with the way vehicles have gone now.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned about the pay, because when I look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, the number one reason businesses struggle to fill jobs is that the wages are too low. That's the number one. And then to your point, we need to be more accommodating. These people that are coming into this business now, they're not the bell-to-bell people like when I started in this business, working 100 hours a week. They want to work a set schedule, and they want to be accommodated. If they have somebody that they need to take care of in the morning, whether it's dropping kids off at school, or if they have something in the afternoon that they need to do that's a family obligation, it's a smart dealership. And I talked to a dealer the other day. They do that. They shift the schedule in such a way that the employee that needs to take care of family matters in the morning starts a little bit later in their day so that they're able to take care of the family and still produce at work. And there are some situations where people have to leave work a little early, and then it's the flip side of that. So those are the employers that are going to attract technicians. And I like that whole portal concept, which is what I modeled my business, Dealer Vendor Match, after. Because today people want to have the flexibility and the freedom to be able to do their exploration on their terms. Just like customers, rather than come in and be dragged through 4 or 5 hours worth of presentation and will you buy it now? Will you buy it now? Everything happens online today. They want the ability to do the research on their own. So that's a very cool platform that you have.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we're seeing even to give you an example, the dealerships, some of them have changed for technicians to 4-day work weeks. That's made a huge, they would rather work 4 10-hour shifts than work 5 8-hour shifts. You're giving them a quality of life. Salespeople, the same thing. We're hearing it all the time. They're tired of missing their kids' baseball or football game. They're tired of not being there for birthdays. And because before, even asking off, forget it. It was bell to bell. That was your schedule. No, we need to accommodate. This is what the new generation wants. We polled our users. We do multiple surveys. We're gathering a lot of data that we're able to provide to the employers as well. What the employers do with it at that point is completely up to them. But through, and this is actually going to be even greater because we just partnered with Connect AI, we're going to be using their SMS AI service to gather even more data from the candidates to be able to report back to the employers. Because it's great also when a candidate applies, but we want to know specifically why the ones didn't apply. Is it the hours? Is it the reputation? Is it the salary? Is it the working? So we have a whole conversational tool through Connect AI being built that we're going to be able to get all of this data and report it back to the industry.
So you're fine-tuning the process.
Exactly. So being the middleman, if you will, and not being a recruiter, we don't have an invested interest in one employer or another. We just provide the portal from the Connect, but I can gather all of this data and report it back to the industry for them to improve and to improve their chances of finding top talent.
Let me get to a couple of comments here. Let's see. Mike Vogel said tools should be supplied by the employer, period. I 100% agree, man, because
Yeah.
that's something that a new person coming out of tech school or just entering our business, if they don't have that big expensive tools, that's a plus, because now you're attracting somebody
Yeah.
that doesn't have to lay out a whole bunch of cash. And at the same time, it's kind of like a golden handcuff, because if they don't have tools, they can't just pick up and go somewhere.
Yeah, we're seeing that some of the forward-thinking employers, they're offering starter toolboxes for new hires that they work off.
Yeah.
During the course of 6 months, a year, depends on the pay plan, depends on each employer, but we're seeing that being done. Mike, to your point, we've actually polled our users, and technicians, once they've established their toolbox already, technicians are actually rather than having a tool allowance to being supplied the tools. So the technicians can buy the tool they want, but given an allowance to do it. I agree. The same concept, different way of doing it.
Right.
But our users have actually let us know that they'd actually prefer a tool allowance than to be handed a tool that maybe wasn't the one they wanted then.
Right.
Yeah.
Peter Smith said, agreed, Paul. Companies use AI to weed out the applicants, and when they set the guidelines, it's flawed. Yeah, they set it to don't respond to anybody. The hell good is that, right? Because they don't. Mike Vogel says automatic pay increases yearly and on passing both ASE and manufacturer certifications.
Yeah.
Another good point. It boils down to the set a career path, right? Have the conversation early, reinforce it, and have a career path. This is your job starting. At the end of this period of time, we expect you to have accumulated these skill sets. And when you show proficiency in these skill sets, you then graduate to this next level, and this will be your compensation. Or your schedule goes from this many days or this many hours to something more desirable, right?
Yeah, nothing bothers them more than watching the door rate go up every year and them having no pay increase to go along with it. And we're talking, listen, I know we spoke about sales, service, and about technicians, and we talk about sales, service advisors too. We have a big candidate pool of service advisors that provide us with their feedback. They want to be heard just as much. I know they're kind of, aside from the parts department, which is often forgotten in this industry, where it's a huge impact on the business, but the parts specialists are normally the forgotten ones, but the advisors need to be listened to as well. The industry talks. Everybody knows what's going on. So that's what allows the ones that are doing great to shine. And the ones that aren't, it's public.
Mike Larkin, techmatch.com is what he referred to your site as. Mike Vogel says year-end bonuses based on a technician's yearly production paid out right before the holidays. Mike, I got a strong feeling you've done this for a long time, my friend.
Mike, how about offering more on warranty work? Because nothing bothers a technician more than when they're doing warranty jobs and not being able to get flag more hours in. So we've seen forward-thinking stores once again offer technicians $1 or $2 an hour more when they're doing on warranty jobs to compensate for what they could have been making on customer paid flagging more hours.
Mike says, treat your team just like you want them to treat your customers, 100%. And here's Larry Feldman, not a nudge, a kick in the pants is often needed.
I agree, Larry, 100% agree.
Yeah, 100% for me on that one too. And Peter Smith said, did I just restart for everyone? Did it just restart for everyone? Well, you know, you talked about the business restarting, right? Yeah, it's restarting because we've got to figure out through what we just talked about here how to better attract technicians, but also on the sales side, you know, these guys and gals that have gotten in that only know take it or leave it because we've got other buyers, they don't have the battle scars of some of the people that have been in this business for decades and that have actually had to do the interview process and overcome objections and sift through conditions versus objections to really get at the meat of what's preventing this person right here from going forward right now on something that you feel fits their needs 100%. So
Yeah.
we're going to see an exodus in the sales side of things like we haven't seen since that bearded guy parted the sea many, many years ago, because a lot of these new people aren't being taught the skills that they're going to need to survive this.
Yeah, but there's different ways to bring in the new generation as well, Paul. The industry needs to speak to the new generation and to let people know, just like we said, technicians aren't the grease monkeys of back in the day. It's all technology now. Same thing goes with sales. If you find anybody in hospitality or anybody that's good on socials, great with social media, has a social media following, knows how to run a social network, would be great in it, because it's gone to a customer service industry. It's not a hard close sale. It's customer service, retain your clients, treat them well, do follow-ups, get referrals. So we need to market this idea to the new generation that if you're great on TikTok, if you're great on Instagram, and you genuinely care about people and you're good with people, you'll do great in this industry, because that's what it's about nowadays. So we need to pass on that message. You're not a car salesperson. You're in the service industry now when you're in automotive.
100% spot on. The people in hospitality are some of the best candidates to bring on because they understand how to build relationships with your customers. We're going to have John Fraser and one of his people on in the not too distant future. This particular gentleman's knocking it out of the park. Now, you bring in a new person, just because they have people skills doesn't mean you don't need to invest your time in nurturing them.
True, very true.
But he's going to share some information that'll blow you away. And Joe Chambers says, solid product, Scott. And Lamont Harris, it's a must to be aggressive in your recruiting. It's more than always be hiring. Be serious and committed about bringing on talent. You can't do it by yourself. And I know you don't do recruiting, but you're partnered with Sandy Cerami, correct?
Yeah, we have a strategic partnership with Sandy Cerami over at SCA 365. Him and I share we share pretty much all the same views, the same values for the industry. We want what's best for the industry. So yes, you can use USA Motor Jobs, and you can also, in conjunction, use Sandy Cerami for recruiting campaigns. Now, Sandy has the same ideology as I do, where dealers shouldn't be thin slicing the market. And this is something that him and I think strongly on, that dealerships should always actively be interviewing as well. Especially in today's candidate market, to need a candidate at that moment, when you're at what Sandy calls high noon, and it's very rare you're going to find somebody within the 24, 48 hours, or maybe even a week, maybe even 2 weeks. What's important is that the dealerships are always present and visible to the talent, so you can get top talent when top talent is ready to make the move. Salespeople is a bit easier, but when we're talking technicians don't move around a lot. For a technician to leave where they're at, they need something to happen in their life. They're having another baby. They need a more higher paying job, or their wife got a job somewhere else, so they're moving. There's something that happened in a technician's life for them to make a move. They're not just out there bouncing from dealer to dealer like salespeople could. It's easy. I mean, technicians have their toolbox. The technicians are a bit tighter knit with in their department than salespeople are.
Yeah.
So what's important is that you're always out there, so that when that top talent is ready to make the move, they see your store and your offer. So you cannot just post a job and expect a flood of candidates come in the first day. You need to always actively be interviewing. The stores that have great success with us, which is why we priced our models, and Sandy has as well, so that you can always actively be interviewing 12 months a year. We go on a subscription model where it's unlimited job postings. So you're not paying per post, and it's a low cost a month. So that way you can the successful stores are always leaving up a lube and tire technician, service advisor, and salesperson with their best message going forward, so that when that talent is ready to make the move, they'll log on to USA Motor Jobs and they'll be able to look at the different stores, because stores are always going to be looking for technicians. So you should be leaving an ad up 12 months a year and always actively be interviewing. Because even if, let's say, your shop's almost full or your sales floor is almost full, if you're getting that master, if you're getting that master tech or that top closer that's willing to make a move today, you need to make room for him, because the chance of finding that that diesel tech or that transmission tech when you need it down the road in 2 months, it's not going to be the same. So you need to get the top talent when the top talent is ready to make the move. And I keep repeating that. I'm trying to really get that message out there. I know Sandy and I are working hard on getting that message out there as well. The candidate market has completely changed.
Well, Sandy's a stand-up guy, so I'll vouch for Sandy all day long. He's a great guy. And, look at your techs, the ones that are more senior, that have been there a long time. Those guys and gals, they're not going to be around long term. So that 12 months of recruiting or 12 months of posting your opportunities, definitely spot on, because at any given time, you can lose somebody that's a key producer in your store. Yeah. Katie Lamphere, absolutely love how USA Motor Jobs takes the time to truly understand the needs of the dealer and cares about the candidate's success. Scott has an amazing platform that is a win-win for both dealers, dealer partners, and candidates. I think you got a fan there.
Well, thank you, Katie. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And she touched on dealer partners. That's another thing as well, where we've recently launched a part within that we have job postings up for dealer partners, aka vendors, within the automotive sector, because we want to retain everybody as much as we can in the industry. Maybe they don't want to be on the sales floor anymore doing bell to bell, but they still, like I did, came from automotive, have a passion of automotive, and found another space in it. So we're seeing a shift as well from salespeople going to work in vendors, dealer partners, but stay in automotive because it's what they love and know best. So we've actually opened that segment up on USA Motor Jobs. So we want to keep them in our industry.
Mike Larkin says, since 2016, a car has become more computers than car, 100%. Lamont Harris, be aggressive in your recruiting, invest in an apprenticeship program, get involved in your community programs and local colleges. That's another great idea. I talk to a lot of dealers. I ask them, do you have an apprenticeship program? And most tell me no. The ones that tell me yes, they're cultivating their next round of technicians. They're giving opportunities to people that have shown interest in our business, and those people know that they'll have a home once they've completed their schooling or their training. Lamont says, pay, show a career path, pay your talent. Can't say that enough times.
No, and we'll take Ed Roberts over at Ford to give you an example. They really truly grow everybody. They have apprenticeship programs, and they'll grow. They give a career path. Ed Roberts over at Bozard Ford. They are a poster child for what I refer to when it comes to how dealers should be operating. They truly give their technicians, starting from lube and tire, a career path to grow within that dealership and support them along the whole way. So kudos to Ed. I know they're doing great. If anybody wants any advice, ask myself or ask Ed Roberts. He is one of the best when it comes to career path for the technicians.
Without a doubt. Mike Fisher, Mike V is right. Increase techs pay if they achieve certs, and throw techs a big bone spiff based on sales and production, and they'll make a lot of money, and feed them occasionally. They'll never leave.
It's really not that hard. I mean, the whole pizza party thing actually has become a joke where, my dealership thanked me, they gave me a pizza party. The techs don't want. That's almost an insult now. They want money. It's not hard to get technicians, it's hard to get technicians now. Sorry, it's not hard to retain them. All you have to do is pay them well, treat them well, show that they're valued and appreciated, give them a quality of life and a career path. It's simple. Really, it really is that simple. And
we overcomplicate everything in our business, sadly.
We do.
Peter Smith said, Scott, I implemented a 4-day week 5 years ago.
Kudos. Then you were one of the pioneers, and hats off to you, because it makes a big difference.
Craig Tomazik, I have one too many tools I paid big money for that probably should be supplied by the shop. You know, somebody that's really looking out for their team can really know the difference between a tool that a shop should have because the tech isn't going to use it as often to make that big investment. So yeah, no, that's key. And Mike Fisher says, Lamont, you're right. Show a career path. Peter Smith, we need to create a culture of transparency within the industry. That is today's buzzword, but it's true. It can't be surprises. We need to know everything that's going to happen before it happens as it's going to happen.
Paul, I've had stores come on board that have chosen to put a salary to be discussed. And obviously when we're coaching them along the way, when they're doing the job postings, I inform them. Technicians want to know what they're. One of them answered me was, I do not want my current technicians to know what I'm offering new ones. Believe it or not, that was one of the
right thing.
That was so transparency. Let everybody treat them well and let them know what's going on. Transparency and consistency when it comes to onboarding. Too many times, whether it's text is a bit easier one, and onboarding when it comes to sales, they're just thrown in. They're thrown into the desk. Here's your desk. Often, what's their email? What's their password? They're running around trying to find everything. Where do the trade-ins get parked? Where's this car? Where's the inventory? Where are the keys? They need a proper onboarding system as well to go along with it, so that they can retain. And the first 90 days is the most crucial for retaining talent. So a dealership that can do something like that as well is also having greater success.
I can tell you that in over 4 decades of experience in this business, other than 2 corporate jobs, there's no onboarding. Shadow that guy, shadow that gal, and there's your computer. Oh, the guy with the long hair and the backpack's going to help you with your password to log on. Well, you should be there like sometime tomorrow. Come on, if we want serious results, then we need to have a seriously structured system to make sure that we're addressing all the concerns. We're training everybody to what we expect them to deliver. They're delivering on our brand promise, right? Because when a customer comes in, those frontline employees that they deal with, they are the company that this customer's come in. They don't want to hear an excuse. This person's new or whatever the excuse du jour is. They don't want to hear any of that. It is our jobs to make sure that they're fully set and ready to go.
Invest in your people, they'll take care of your customers. It's simple.
Been that way since like the first caveman got the job, right?
But we still have to keep pounding that concept. We still have to keep going back to it.
Mike Fisher says, Mike Fisher and mine, the tech schools, grow your talent in-house. Peter Smith, create the 500 club and you'll shine in sales. 500 customers is all you need. I like that. Larry Feldman, John Frazier does an amazing job. He absolutely does, man. He absolutely does. He's a very good friend of mine. And we've had many good conversations over a period of time. And Michael Larkin says, Sandy is the bomb. Yes, he is. Great guy. Had a great time at the dinner with him, at the Traver dinner in Dallas. Yeah. Wendy Reeves, absolutely agree on the hospitality industry as candidates and health club front desk employees, hotel staff, great for BDC too, and always be interviewing. Don't want to miss out on a diamond in the rough.
Yes, thank you, Wendy. Thank you for echoing it.
100%.
And listen, BDC is just as important. Those are often the first contact that the customers have at your dealership for the first time. They've done the research and they're calling in or they're emailing in. Often it's the BDC taking care of it. And I know Wendy does a phenomenal job what she does. So I can fully go along with everything that Wendy's saying.
Now, let's see. I think Mike Fisher's comment came up a second time because he made this comment before. Mike Vogel, always be recruiting, always be training, always be learning, always be moving forward. And Mike Larkin, onboarding, where is the bathroom? Yeah, it's a bit more than that. You're right. You're absolutely right. Peter Smith, I believe training starts from the top down, including dealers and GMs. This also includes coaching. You know, hats off to you, Peter, because very few people make that statement. Every dealership can benefit by putting their top leadership through a Dale Carnegie program, professional development and speaking. Every single dealership, because what we tend to see over time is that we see revolving doors in some companies, but yet the management's still there. Nothing has changed, yet no one looks at management. And let's face it, management isn't always making the right choice.
Yeah.
So, great comment.
Yeah, you have to have the upper management keep your management accountable for everything you're putting in place. Often they're just thinking about their month. They're meeting their month. They're not thinking about the long prosperity of the dealership. One group that does great at leadership and training and coaching and career path is Liza Borges over at the CMA group. Yeah, employees have the employee stock options so that they truly care about the future and the longevity of the group. They care about the customer, so that it's not just, hey, I got to meet the end of the month, and that's all the manager is focused on. They're focused on the reputation of the store. They're focused on customer retention because they plan to be there a long time, if not their full career, because they are part of the company.
Wow. Well, you know, we started out as an hour, then we figured, well, let's do a half hour. The half hour is probably closer. I don't think we've hit it quite yet because the half hour doesn't seem to be quite enough. And an hour doesn't force us to push the content out fast enough. So I think we'll get it right one of these times. Listen, Scott, I want to thank you so much for coming on. If you could, after the show's done, if you go in through the way LinkedIn works is you have to go through the original post and then add your, maybe your web URL or contact information so that people can explore what you have to offer. Because I think it's a good value that you bring because it brings that transparency to connect the employers, those seeking employment and those seeking employees. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Paul. Once again, it was great. I know you and I have spoke prior to Dallas. It was great meeting you in person in Dallas, having the opportunity to shake your hand, and now growing with you again and growing more with the industry, which is what I love doing. For everybody else, it's simple. It's usamotorjobs.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn as well, and I'd love to answer any questions and help anybody I can.
Awesome. Mike Larkin says, you two are world-class. Thanks so much. Thank you, Michael. After we log off, just stay on for a couple minutes. All right.
Yes,
thank you to those that support the show weekly, to those watching it on the replay. I appreciate you, and have a safe and successful week. And we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Live.
Have a good night.